Welcome to Cozy Night Tales. Tonight's story is called The Midnight Train Through Snow, a gentle story about warmth, rest, and the quiet of winter night. The station waited in the winter night. Snow fell softly on the platform. Each flake drifted down through the darkness, down through the cold air, down through the quiet night. The flakes landed gently on the wooden boards of the platform. They melted slowly, or they stayed, building layers of white, white upon white upon white. The station lights glowed, warm golden light, spilling out into the darkness, spilling out into the falling snow. The light caught each snowflake as it fell, made each one shimmer for just a moment, a brief shimmer of gold. Then the flake continued falling down to the platform below. The clock on the station wall showed 11:45, 15 minutes before midnight, 15 minutes before the train would arrive. The clock ticked softly, tick, 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 each second passing slowly and steadily through the winter night. Inside the station waiting room, warmth gathered. The old radiators hummed quietly, a gentle hum, a peaceful hum. They radiated heat into the small space, heat that rose slowly toward the ceiling, heat that filled the room with comfort, with safety, with the feeling of shelter from the cold outside. 6 passengers waited in the warm room. They sat on wooden benches that had been worn smooth by decades of waiting travelers. Smooth wood that felt warm to the touch, warm from all the hands that had rested there, warm from all the people who had waited there before. An elderly woman sat near the window. She wore a thick wool coat, the color of deep blue twilight. The coat was buttoned all the way to her chin. At her neck, a cream-colored scarf was wrapped carefully, wrapped in soft folds. The scarf looked hand-knitted, each stitch visible, each stitch made with care. She held a small leather suitcase on her lap. The leather was worn dark brown, worn soft from years of travel. Her hands rested on the case, hands that were lined with age, lined with the marks of time and living. She watched the snow fall through the window, watched it fall and fall and fall. Her eyes followed the flakes down through the light, down to the platform. Her breathing was slow and even, in and out, the rhythm of rest. Beside her sat a young man with round glasses. The glasses reflected the warm station lights, 2 circles of golden light. He had removed his coat and folded it beside him. A dark gray wool coat, folded neatly, precisely. He wore a burgundy sweater underneath. The sweater looked thick and soft, hand-knitted like the scarf the elderly woman wore. Perhaps by someone who loved him, someone who wanted him to be warm. In his hands, he held a book, a small book, with a green cover. But he wasn't reading. He was looking out the window too, watching the snow fall, watching the white flakes drift down through the darkness. His breath formed a small fog on the window glass, a small circle of mist. It appeared It faded, then appeared again, the rhythm of his breathing made visible in the mist. Across from them, a middle-aged couple sat close together. They held hands, his fingers wrapped around hers wrapped around his. A gentle holding, a comfortable holding, the holding of two people who had held hands many times before. The woman wore a forest green coat, the man wore brown. Their luggage sat at their feet, two matching bags, both made of canvas the color of autumn leaves. They spoke in whispers, soft whispers that blended with the sound of the radiator, whispers that couldn't be heard by the others. Private words, gentle words, words that belonged only to them. A younger woman sat alone near the door. She looked to be in her early 20s. Her hair was pulled back in a loose braid, a braid that hung over her shoulder, dark blonde hair, the color of wheat fields in summer. But now it was winter, deep winter. She wore a cream-colored coat with wooden buttons, large wooden buttons, 5 of them down the front. A red scarf was wrapped around her neck, bright red, the red of winter berries. She had a backpack beside her on the bench, a blue backpack, faded blue. It looked well-traveled, worn at the corners. She, too, watched the snow, but her eyes also kept moving to the clock, to the hands that crept slowly toward midnight. Slowly, so slowly. In the corner, on a bench by himself, sat an older gentleman. He had a magnificent beard, white and full. It covered his chin and his cheeks, like a cloud of white, like fresh snow. He wore a thick plaid coat, red and black plaid, the kind of coat a woodsman might wear. A wool hat sat on his head, gray wool flecked with white. Beside him was a large canvas bag. It looked heavy, full of something. Perhaps gifts, perhaps supplies for a long journey. He didn't watch the snow like the others. Instead, his eyes were closed. His hands rested on his knees. His chest rose and fell, slowly, slowly, the breath of someone at peace, someone comfortable with waiting. The station master appeared from a door behind the ticket counter. He was a thin man with kind eyes. He wore a dark blue uniform. The uniform was pressed and neat. On his head was a cap with a short brim. He moved slowly through the waiting room. His steps were quiet, measured. He checked the clock on the wall. 11:51, 9 minutes until the train. He walked to the door that led to the platform, opened it quietly. A breath of cold air entered the room. Fresh air, winter air, air that smelled of snow and pine trees, of wood smoke from distant chimneys, of the deep quiet of winter night. He stepped out onto the platform. The snow landed on his shoulders, on his cap, soft white flakes that didn't melt immediately on the wool. He walked to the edge of the platform, looked down. The tracks stretched away into the darkness. 2 lines of steel. They reflected. The station lights, faint reflections. The rails disappeared into the distance, into the falling snow, into the winter night. He stood there for a moment, listening to the silence, the particular silence of snowfall, the silence that comes when snow covers everything, covers the world in soft white layers, layers that muffle sound, that absorb noise, that create a hush over everything. Then he heard it. Faint at first, so faint it might have been imagination. But no, there it was again. The sound of the train, far away down the tracks. The low sound of the engine, the distant rhythm of wheels on rails. Click-clack, click-clack. So far away still, but coming through the snow, coming through the night. He smiled, turned back toward the waiting room, opened the door, stepped inside, stamped the snow gently from his feet. "The train is coming," he said. His voice was quiet, gentle. He didn't want to disturb the peace of the waiting room. The passengers stirred. The elderly woman looked up from the window. The young man closed his book. The couple stood slowly, still holding hands. The young woman with the braid checked her backpack. The older gentleman with the white beard opened his eyes. They gathered their belongings slowly. There was no rush. The train would wait for them. There was time, always time. They moved toward the door that led to the platform. The station master held it open one by one. They filed out into the winter night, into the falling snow. The cold air touched their faces, touched their hands, but they were dressed warmly, protected, safe in their winter coats and scarves and gloves. They walked to the edge of the platform, stood in a row, waiting, looking down the tracks. The sound of the train grew louder, louder. The rhythm became clearer. Click-clack, click-clack, click-clack. The steady beating rhythm of wheels on rails, wheels turning, rails holding, the ancient partnership of train and track. Then they saw the light, a single bright light in the distance, the headlight of the engine. It cut through the falling snow, a beam of white light growing brighter, coming closer. The sound grew, louder still, the rumble of the engine, the hiss of steam, the rhythm of the wheels, all of it growing, filling the winter night. The train emerged from the darkness. It was magnificent. The engine was painted deep blue, the blue of midnight sky, the blue of deep water. Gold trim ran along its sides. Gold letters spelled out the name, the Midnight Express. Windows glowed with warm light, yellow gold light, light that looked warm and inviting against the cold darkness. Steam rose from the engine in great white clouds, clouds that mixed with the falling snow. It rose up into the air and dissipated. The train began to slow. The wheels screamed softly against the rails, a high singing sound, the sound of metal on metal, the sound of stopping, slowing, slower, slower, until finally the train came to rest at the platform, perfectly aligned, the passenger cars directly in front of where the 6 travelers waited. For a moment, everything was still. The engine idled, breathing. Steam rose and fell, rose and fell, like the breathing of a great sleeping creature. Then a door opened, the door of the nearest passenger car. A conductor stepped down. He wore a uniform like the station master's, but his was dark green, forest green, with brass buttons down the front. Bright brass buttons that caught the light. He had a round face, a kind face. He smiled at the waiting passengers. "Good evening," he said. His voice was warm, welcoming. "Welcome to the Midnight Express." He held out his hand to help the elderly woman aboard. She took his hand. His grip was firm but gentle. She stepped up into the train. One step, then another, disappeared into the warm glow of the passenger car. One by one, the others followed. The young man with glasses, the couple holding hands, the young woman with the braid, finally, the older gentleman with the white beard. He paused at the door, turned back to look at the station, at the snow falling on the platform, at the warm lights glowing in the station windows. He took a deep breath, breathed in the winter air, the cold, clean air. Then he smiled, stepped aboard. The conductor followed. He closed the door behind them, turned, waved to the station master. The station master waved back. The engine gave a long, low whistle, a beautiful sound, a sound that echoed across the snowy landscape, a sound that spoke of journeys, of movement through the night, of destinations still to come. The train began to move, slowly at first, so slowly it was barely perceptible. The wheels turned, gained purchase on the rails. Click, clack, click, clack. The rhythm began again, slow and steady. The train pulled away from the station. The warm lights of the station fell behind, and behind, growing smaller. The train moved into the darkness, into the falling snow, into the winter night. The journey had begun. Inside the passenger car, warmth enveloped everything. The air was warm, not hot, not cold, but perfectly, comfortably warm. The kind of warmth that makes shoulders relax, that makes breathing deepen, that makes the body remember safety. The car was beautiful. The walls were paneled in rich, dark wood, mahogany perhaps, or cherry, wood that had been polished until it gleamed soft and deep. The overhead lamps were brass. Each one held a globe of frosted glass. The glass was etched with delicate patterns, swirls, and leaves, and vines. The light that came through was soft, diffused, golden and gentle. Not harsh, never harsh. The seats were arranged in pairs facing each other across small tables. The seats were upholstered in burgundy velvet, deep red velvet, soft to the touch. The kind of fabric that invites you to sit, to settle in, to stay. Each table had a small lamp, a brass lamp with a green glass shade. The green glass glowed, created a pool of quiet light. Light for reading, light for watching the window, light for existing peacefully in the night. The windows were large, large panes of glass, from ceiling to halfway down the wall. Through them, the winter night was visible, the darkness, the falling snow, the shapes of trees sliding past. But inside, there was only warmth, only light, only comfort. The elderly woman had chosen a seat by a window. She settled into the velvet seat, felt it receive her weight. She placed her leather suitcase on the overhead rack. It fit perfectly in the brass frame. She kept her coat on, but unbuttoned it now, the top 3 buttons, letting the warmth reach her. She unwrapped her cream scarf, folded it carefully, placed it on the seat beside her. Then she turned to the window. Outside, the station was already far behind, lost in the darkness and the snow. The train moved through the night, through the falling white. She watched a snowflake land on the outside of the glass, watched it for a moment, then it was gone, blown away by the movement of the train, or melted. Another came, and another, each one visible for just a moment, then gone. She felt the gentle sway of the train, the soft rocking motion, side to side, side to side, like being in a cradle, like being held. She heard the rhythm of the wheels beneath her, click-clack, 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 a steady rhythm, unchanging, reliable, the kind of rhythm that could lull you to sleep, that could carry you through the night. The train cut through it all, steady and sure, following the rails that stretched ahead, rails that knew the way, that would carry them through the darkness, through the snow, to wherever they were meant to go. She didn't know exactly where that was, and she found she didn't care. The destination wasn't important, not tonight. Tonight was about this moment, this train, this window, this snow, this peace. She closed her eyes, let herself feel the motion, the sway, the rhythm, let herself sink into the velvet seat, let herself be held by the train, carried through the night, safe, warm, at peace. The conductor returned. He carried a tray. On it were 2 teacups, white china, with a delicate pattern of blue flowers. Steam rose from the cups, gentle wisps of steam. He placed 1 cup in front of the woman, 1 in front of the man. "Careful," he said softly. "It's hot." The woman wrapped her hands around the cup, felt the warmth seep into her palms, into her fingers. She didn't drink yet, just held it, let the warmth spread. The man did the same. They sat there, holding their cups, hands warmed by tea, hearts warmed by each other, by this journey together. The conductor made another trip. This time, he brought coffee, a large white mug, full to the brim, cream swirled on top, patterns in the cream, spirals. He placed it carefully in front of the older gentleman. "Thank you," the gentleman said. His voice was deep, warm like honey. He lifted the mug, breathed in the steam, the smell of coffee, rich and dark. He took a small sip, Let the warmth spread through him, down his throat, into his chest. He closed his eyes, smiled. Perfect. Everything was perfect. The train continued through the night, through the falling snow. The wheels turned on the rails. Click-clack, click-clack. The rhythm never wavering, never faltering, constant as a heartbeat, steady as breath. The engine pulled them forward, forward through the darkness, forward through the winter, forward toward whatever waited beyond this night. But there was no rushing. The train moved at its own pace, a pace that felt exactly right. Not too fast, not too slow. The pace of dreams, the pace of falling snow, the pace of deep winter night. The train moved deeper into the forest. On both sides of the tracks, trees rose tall, pine trees and fir trees. Their branches hung heavy with snow. The weight of winter rested on them, but they stood strong, rooted deep in the frozen earth. The moonlight found its way through the clouds now, just a little, just enough. It fell in silver beams between the trees, lit the snow on the branches, made it sparkle like thousands of tiny diamonds, like stars that had fallen to earth. The train's windows glowed as it passed, rectangles of warm golden light moving through the darkness, moving through the trees. The light spilled out onto the snow beside the tracks, yellow light on white snow. The contrast was beautiful, peaceful. Inside the warm car, the passengers settled deeper into their journey. The elderly woman watched the trees slide past. She counted them without meaning to. 1 tree, 2 trees, 3 trees, 4. The counting became a meditation, a quiet focus, something to rest her mind upon. 5 trees, 6 trees, 7. Her eyes grew heavy, not with sadness, but with the pleasant weight of approaching sleep. The warmth of the car wrapped around her, the rhythm of the wheels beneath her, the sight of the snow outside. All of it conspired to bring her peace, to bring her rest. She let her eyes close just for a moment, just to feel the darkness behind her eyelids. She could still hear the train, still feel its movement, but now it was even more soothing. Without sight, the other senses grew stronger. The sound of the wheels became everything. Click-clack, click-clack, click-clack. Yes, the gentle sway became everything. Rock, rock, rock. She drifted, not quite asleep, not quite awake, somewhere in between, in that soft place where her thoughts become dreams, where the boundaries blur, where peace lives. The young man with glasses took a sip from a cup of water. The conductor had brought it without being asked, had simply placed it on his table, smiled, moved on. The water was cool, clean. It tasted of nothing and everything. He set the cup down carefully, watched the water settle, watched the small ripples fade. Outside his window, a deer stood in the snow. It was alone, standing perfectly still between 2 trees. Its coat was brown against the white, Its eyes caught the light from the train, reflected it back, 2 points of gold in the darkness. The train passed. The deer didn't move, didn't startle, just watched, as if it was used to the train, as if it knew the train meant no harm, was just passing through. The young man smiled, felt grateful for the sight, for that moment of connection. Him in his warm car, the deer in the cold forest, both of them alive, both of them here, both of them part of this winter night. The couple sat in comfortable silence. Their tea was half finished now, still warm enough to comfort, not so hot it couldn't be sipped. The woman looked at her reflection in the window, saw her face, overlaid on the passing trees, her eyes, the trees, her mouth, the snow, a double image, inside and outside at once. She wondered if this was what it meant to be alive, to be both here and there, to be both the watcher and the watched, to be both the journey and the destination. Her husband squeezed her hand, 3 squeezes, their signal. I love you. She squeezed back, 3 squeezes. I love you too. They had been doing this for 30 years. 3 squeezes, a language only they spoke, a language that needed no words. Outside, the trees continued, endless, or so it seemed. But nothing is truly endless. Everything has an end, and a beginning, and a middle. The young woman with the braid had written 3 sentences in her journal, 3 sentences that felt true, that felt important. She read them over, once, twice, 3 times. Yes, they were right. They said what she needed them to say. She closed the journal, set her pen down beside it, looked out the window. The forest was thick here, the trees so close together that the spaces between them were narrow, dark, narrow spaces, like doorways, like passages to somewhere else, somewhere deeper, somewhere more secret. She wondered what lived in those spaces, what creatures made their homes in the deep woods. Foxes, perhaps, with their red coats and black feet, curled in dens beneath the roots of old trees. Owls, white owls and brown owls, sitting silent on high branches, watching the night with round yellow eyes. Rabbits, huddled in their burrows, warm together, safe from the cold. Bears, deep in their winter sleep, breathing slowly, dreaming bear dreams. She liked thinking about them, liked knowing they were there, hidden but present, living their lives in the darkness. The train was not the only thing awake tonight, not the only thing moving through the world, but it was her world right now. This train, this warm car, this seat by the window, and that was enough. The older gentleman finished his coffee, set the mug down, gently, carefully. It had been perfect, just the right temperature, just the right amount of cream. He felt it warming him from the inside, felt it spreading through his chest, through his limbs. He looked down at his hands, old hands, weathered hands, hands that had worked for many years, built things, fixed things, held his children when they were small, held his wife's hand on their wedding day, held tools and wood and rope and stone. These hands had done good work. He was proud of them. They rested now on the table, folded, at peace. He looked around the car, again, at his fellow travelers. They were strangers to him. He didn't know their names, didn't know their stories, didn't know where they had been or where they were going. But somehow, they were connected by this train, by this night, by this shared journey through the snow. He felt a fondness for them, a gentle affection. They were all human, all vulnerable, all seeking something. Rest perhaps, peace, home, or simply the comfort of movement, the comfort of being carried. The conductor passed through again. He collected the empty cups, the mug, placed them carefully on his tray. He moved with practiced grace, never stumbling, never spilling. Even as the train swayed, even as it rocked gently on the rails. He had been doing this for years, decades perhaps. He knew this train, knew its rhythms, knew its moods. He was part of it, as much as the wheels were part of it, as much as the engine was part of it. The train needed him, and he needed the train. It was a good partnership, a good life. He disappeared through the door to the galley. The door closed with a soft click. The passengers returned to their windows, to their thoughts, to the gentle hypnosis of the journey. The forest began to thin, gradually, slowly. The trees became less dense. More space appeared between them. More moonlight reached the ground. The snow on the forest floor glowed brighter, reflected the moon, reflected the stars that were starting to appear. The clouds were clearing, just a little, enough to let the stars through. 1 star, 2 stars, 3 stars, more. They emerged like shy creatures, peeking out, checking if it was safe, and finding the night was calm, finding the night was clear. They shone down on the winter world, cold light, ancient light, light that had traveled so far, farther than the train would ever travel, farther than any train could go. The elderly woman opened her eyes. She hadn't been sleeping, not really, just resting. She saw the stars, smiled. She'd always loved stars, even as a child, especially as a child. She remembered lying in the grass in summer, her mother beside her, both of them looking up. Her mother would point. That one, she would say, that's the North Star. It never moves, her mother told her. When you're lost, it will guide you home. The elderly woman looked for the North Star now, searched the sky through her window. There it was, steady, constant, still guiding people home after all these years, after all these centuries, all these millennia. She felt a connection to everyone who had ever looked at that star, everyone who had ever been lost, everyone who had ever needed to find their way. She was one of them, part of that long line of seekers, part of that ancient family. The train carried her forward. The star watched from above, and she felt held by both. The train began to slow, just a little, just enough to notice. The rhythm changed. The click-clack became slower. Click-clack, click-clack. A longer pause between each beat. The passengers stirred, looked up, looked out. Ahead, through the darkness, lights appeared. Small lights, yellow lights, the lights of a village. The train was approaching, a village in the snow. The elderly woman sat up straighter, looked forward with interest. She loved villages, especially small villages, especially villages at night. There was something about them, something cozy, something safe. The idea of people gathered together, homes clustered close, lights in windows, smoke rising from chimneys, lives being lived. The train slowed, more, the brakes engaged with a gentle hiss, not stopping, just slowing enough to pass through carefully, respectfully, as if the train knew it was a guest here, knew it should not disturb. The first building came into view, a small house, wooden walls, painted white, or perhaps they were unpainted, and the snow made them look white. A single window glowed. Behind it, a shadow moved, a person. Someone was awake, someone was home. The elderly woman wondered about them, wondered what they were doing. Making tea, perhaps, reading a book, waiting for someone to come home, or simply standing by the window, watching the train pass the way she was watching them, both of them observing, both of them alone, both of them connected by the act of looking. The train moved deeper into the village. More houses appeared. Some were dark, their inhabitants asleep, dreaming winter dreams. Some had lights in upstairs windows, bedroom lights. Someone reading before sleep. Someone unable to sleep. Someone checking on a child. Some houses had wreaths on their doors, even though it was late in winter, past the holidays. But the wreaths remained, evergreen and red berries, a promise that spring would come, that winter would not last forever. The village had a church, small and wooden, a white steeple reaching into the sky. No lights inside, but a single lamp by the door. Left on, through the night, a beacon, a sign. You are welcome here. You are safe here. The couple looked at the church. They had been married in a church like that. Not that one, but one similar. Small, wooden, white. They had stood at the altar, young, nervous, hopeful, had spoken their vows, had promised forever. And here they were, 30 years later, still together, still keeping those promises. Forever was a long time, but it was made of moments like this. Sitting on a train, holding hands, passing through a village in the snow. These moments added up, became hours, became days, became years, became a life. Then the village was behind them, the lights fading, growing smaller. The train picked up speed, again, gradually, the rhythm increasing, click-clack, click-clack, click-clack. Faster now, but still not fast. still measured, still gentle. The train moved back into open country, away from the village, away from the clustered lights, back into the darkness, back into the forest, back into the snow. But the memory of the village remained, warm in the minds of the passengers, a gift, a moment of connection, a reminder of home, even if it wasn't their home, even if they would never return. It was someone's home, and that was enough. The forest opened suddenly, fell away on both sides. The train emerged onto a bridge, a high bridge, a long bridge. Below, a river lay frozen. The elderly woman sat up, pressed closer to the window. The river stretched wide, white ice from bank to bank. Snow covered the ice, made it hard to tell where river ended and shore began. But the moonlight helped. The moon was brighter now, higher in the sky. It cast silver light on everything, on the snow, on the ice, on the trees that lined the banks. The light made the world look like a painting, like something unreal, too beautiful to be true. But it was true. It was real. It was here. The bridge was made of iron, black iron, that looked gray in the moonlight. Strong beams crossed above and below, creating a framework, a skeleton. The train moved across it slowly, even slower than through the village. The conductor knew this bridge, respected it. It was old, had been built 100 years ago, maybe more. It had carried thousands of trains, millions of passengers, but it was still treated with care, with reverence. The wheels on the bridge sounded different, not click-clack, but a deeper sound, a hollow sound, thrum, thrum, thrum. The sound echoed under the bridge, bounced off the frozen river, came back, transformed. The young man listened to it, found it mesmerizing. Thrum, 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 like a heartbeat, like a drum, like the pulse of the earth itself. The train cleared the bridge, returned to solid ground. The sound changed back from thrum to click-clack, click-clack, click-clack. The familiar rhythm, returning, welcome as an old friend. The conductor stood, walked through the car again. This time he carried a basket. In it were small blankets, soft blankets, the color of cream. He stopped by each passenger, offered a blanket. In case you get cold, he said, in case you want to sleep. The elderly woman took one, unfolded it, spread it over her lap. It was warm, had been kept warm somewhere. She pulled it up to her chest, let it cover her arms. The weight of it was comforting. The warmth was perfect. She felt her body relax even more, felt herself sinking deeper into the seat, into the moment, into the peace. The young man took a blanket too, wrapped it around his shoulders like a shawl. It felt like being held, like being embraced. He hadn't realized how much he needed that, how much he missed being held. The couple took one blanket, shared it. spread it across both their laps. Another layer of warmth, another symbol of their togetherness. The young woman carried her blanket back to her seat, folded it, used it as a pillow against the window. She leaned her head against it, against the soft warmth, looked out at the passing NEET. The older gentleman draped his blanket over his legs, smoothed it with his large hands. "Thank you," he said to the conductor, his voice warm with gratitude. "My pleasure," the conductor replied. And it truly was his pleasure. To care for these people, to give them comfort, to help them rest. This was why he did this job, not for the pay, not for the prestige, but for these moments, these small acts of kindness. They mattered. He knew they mattered. The train continued through the night, the rhythm never changing, never wavering. Click-clack, click-clack, click-clack. Steady, reliable, constant. Outside, the landscape scrolled by, trees and snow, snow and trees. Occasionally a clearing, open white space, under the moon. Occasionally a hill, the train climbing, then descending, but always moving forward, always following the tracks that stretched ahead into the darkness, into the unknown. But the unknown didn't feel frightening, not tonight. Tonight it felt like promise, like possibility, like the future, unfolding as it should. The passengers felt sleep, approaching, real sleep now, deep sleep. The elderly woman's eyes closed. This time, they stayed closed. Her breathing deepened, slowed, became the breathing of sleep. Her hands rested on the blanket, still, peaceful. Her face relaxed, the lines smoothing, the years falling away. She looked younger, in sleep, looked like the girl she'd once been. The young man's head nodded, jerked up, nodded again. He was fighting it, trying to stay awake, not wanting to miss anything, not wanting the journey to end. But his body knew better, knew what he needed. His eyes closed, his breathing deepened, his head settled against the blanket, against the window. He slept. The couple leaned toward each other, still holding hands under the blanket. The woman's head found his shoulder, rested there, fit there perfectly, as it always had, as it always would. The man's head leaned against hers, gentle, protective. Their eyes closed, their breathing synchronized, in, out, together, even in sleep. The young woman with the braid fought sleep the longest. She wanted to write more, wanted to capture this feeling, this moment. But her pen grew heavy in her hand. The journal slipped from her lap. The conductor caught it, had been walking past at just the right moment. He placed it gently on the table, placed the pen beside it, took another blanket from his basket, spread it over her. She mumbled something, a thank you perhaps, or just a sound of contentment. Then she too slept. The older gentleman was the last to close his eyes. He sat in his seat, blanket over his legs, hands folded, watching the others sleep not in a creepy way, not watching them, just observing, just being present. He felt like a guardian somehow, like he was keeping watch, making sure they were safe, making sure they were well. Even though the train was doing that, even though the conductor was doing that, he still felt the need, the old need to protect, to care. It was part of who he was, part of what he had always been. Finally, he too let his eyes close, let his head rest back against the seat. Let sleep take him. The conductor dimmed the lights, not off, just dimmer, soft enough for sleep, bright enough for safety. He moved to his seat at the front, sat down quietly, looked back at his passengers, all sleeping now, all peaceful. He smiled, felt a deep satisfaction. This was what the Midnight Express was for. This was its purpose. Not just to move people from place to place, but to give them rest, to give them peace, to give them a few hours of perfect safety, where nothing was required of them, where they could simply be, where they could sleep without worry, without fear, without the weight of the world on their shoulders. The train would carry them, the train would keep them safe, and in the morning they would arrive, refreshed, restored, ready. But that was hours away yet, for now. There was only the night, only the snow, only the gentle rhythm of the wheels. Click-clack, click-clack, click-clack. The conductor closed his own eyes, not to sleep, just to rest. He would wake every few minutes, check on things, stay alert. But for now, he could rest. The train knew the way. The deepest part of the night arrived, the hours after midnight, before dawn, the hours when the world sleeps most deeply, when dreams are most vivid, when time seems to slow. The train moved through this deep night, steady as always, unchanging. The snow had stopped falling, the clouds had cleared completely. The sky was full of stars, more stars than could ever be counted. They blazed in the darkness, cold and bright and ancient. The moon had moved across the sky, was lower now, heading toward the horizon, but still bright, still casting its silver light. The elderly woman dreamed. She dreamed of summer, a garden full of flowers, roses and lilies and daisies. She was young in the dream, wearing a white dress. Her mother was there, alive again, young again. They were picking flowers together, filling baskets. The sun was warm on her shoulders. The air smelled of green things growing, of earth and bloom and life. Her mother was humming a song the elderly woman had forgotten, but in the dream she remembered, hummed along. Their voices twined together like the stems of the flowers they picked. It was a good dream, a peaceful dream. She smiled in her sleep. The young man dreamed too. He dreamed of the ocean, standing on a shore, his feet in the sand, the waves rolling in, rolling out, rolling in, rolling out. The rhythm was like the train, like the wheels on the rails. Click-clack became wave crash. Crash hiss. Crash hiss. Someone stood beside him. He couldn't see who, but he knew them deeply, felt safe with them. They didn't speak, just stood together, watching the ocean, watching the horizon, waiting for something, but not impatiently, happy to wait, happy to stand, happy to be. The couple dreamed together, the way they sometimes did. They were dancing in a ballroom. No, not a ballroom, their living room. The furniture pushed back, space to move, music playing from somewhere, slow music, gentle music. They moved together in perfect time, her hand in his hand on her waist. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, turning slowly around and around. The room spun gently, the walls blurred. Nothing existed but the dance, but each other, but this moment. They were young again and also old. Both at once, all the years held in this dance, all the love held in this embrace. The young woman dreamed of flying, not in a plane, not with wings, just flying the way you can in dreams. She rose up from the earth, slowly at first, then faster, higher. She flew over forests, over rivers, over mountains. The world spread below her, beautiful, vast. She felt free, completely free. No weight, no worry, no fear, just flight, just movement, just the wind on her face. She laughed in her dream, laughed with pure joy. The sound echoed across the sky, became part of the wind, part of the world. The older gentleman dreamed of his wife, as he often did. They were in their cottage, the one from long ago. She sat by the fire, knitting. He sat across from her, carving a piece of wood, a bird. He was making a bird. The firelight flickered, cast dancing shadows. Neither of them spoke, didn't need to. The silence was comfortable, full of years together, full of understanding, full of love. She looked up at him, smiled. The smile he remembered, the smile he carried in his heart. He smiled back. "I miss you," he said in the dream. "I know," she said, "but I'm here. I'm always here." And it was true. He could feel. It was true. She was in his heart, in his memories, in every moment of beauty he experienced. She was the reason he could still to see beauty, still feel joy, because she had taught him how. The train moved through the ancient forest. The trees rose on both sides, tall, silent, eternal. The snow on their branches glowed in the moonlight, made them look like they were covered in silver, like they were magical trees, trees from a fairy tale. The conductor opened his eyes, checked his watch. 2:30 in the morning, the deepest point of the night. He stood quietly, moved through the car, checked each passenger, made sure each blanket was in place, made sure everyone was warm, everyone was safe. They all slept peacefully, faces relaxed, breathing steady. He adjusted the elderly woman's blanket. It had slipped a little. He tucked it gently around her shoulders. She didn't wake. just settled deeper into sleep. The conductor smiled, felt that satisfaction again. His passengers were well, his train was running smoothly. Everything was as it should be. The train began a gentle climb, the tracks rising, following the contour of the land, up a long, slow hill. The engine worked a little harder, not straining, just working, steady, strong. The rhythm stayed the same. Click, clack, click, clack. But the pitch changed slightly, a little deeper, a little fuller. The train crested the hill, reached the summit, and the world opened up. The conductor caught his breath, as he always did. The view spread before him, vast, endless, valley below, mountains beyond, all of it silver in the moonlight, all of it pristine in snow. The moon hung low now, almost touching the distant mountains, huge and bright and perfect. A full moon, the color of cream, the color of pearl. The stars wheeled overhead, infinite, eternal. The Milky Way stretched across the sky, a river of light. The sky below, the sky above, both full of light, both full of wonder. The train paused at the summit. Not a full stop, just a moment, a breath, letting everyone take in the view, even those who slept, because some part of them knew, some part of them felt it. The beauty, the majesty, the peace. The elderly woman stirred in her sleep, smiled. In her dream, she'd climbed to the top of a hill, looked out over her garden, saw it stretching away, saw all the flowers, saw all the beauty she and her mother had planted. The train began to descend, slowly, carefully, down the other side of the mountain. The view slipped away, trees rose up again on both sides. The intimate world of the forest returned, but the memory of the vista remained, held in the heart, held in the soul. The conductor sat down, let out a breath. Every time, every single time, it moved him. He would never tire of it, never take it for granted. It was a gift. This route, this train, this life. He was grateful. The train rolled on, descending now, the rhythm steady, the wheels turning. Click-clack, click-clack, click-clack. Carrying its sleeping passengers, carrying their dreams, down the mountain, through the forest, through the night, toward morning, toward arrival, toward whatever waited beyond the darkness. But that was still hours away. For now, there was only this, the deep night, the steady rhythm, the peace that comes from being carried, from being safe, from being held by something larger than yourself. The train was that something. The night was that something. The journey was that something. And it was enough. The darkest hour came, the hour just before dawn, when the night is deepest, when the cold is sharpest. But inside the train, warmth held, the passengers slept on, deep in their dreams, deep in their rest, outside the train, the first hints of dawn approached. Not visible yet, not light, but a change in the darkness, a softening, the black of deep night becoming gray, the gray of pre-dawn. The stars began to fade, not all at once, but gradually, the brightest ones staying, the dimmer ones disappearing. The moon had set, had slipped below the horizon, its work done, its light given. Now it rested, and the sun prepared to wake. The forest changed. In the pre-dawn light, the trees became more visible, no longer just dark shapes, but actual trees, bark visible, branches distinct. The snow on the ground changed from gray to white, still not bright, not yet, but white, definitely white. The train rolled on, never stopping, never hurrying, the same steady pace, the same rhythm. Click, clack, click, clack, click, clack. The conductor had dozed just for a few minutes. His body knew when to wake him. Internal clock, internal knowledge. His eyes opened. He looked out the window, saw the changing light, smiled. Dawn was coming. Soon the passengers would wake. Soon they would arrive. But not yet, not quite yet. A little more time, a little more rest, a little more peace. He stood, moved through the car, quietly, checked each passenger one more time. The elderly woman slept peacefully, a half smile on her lips. The young man had shifted, was curled on his side now, like a child. The couple still held each other, would probably wake holding each other as they had for 30 years. The young woman had tucked her legs up, feet on the seat, arms around her knees, small, protected, safe. The older gentleman slept with his hands crossed over his heart, a pose of peace, of completion. The conductor made a decision. He would let them sleep a bit longer, would let them have this time, this rest. They needed it, all of them. They had come to the Midnight Express for this, not just for transportation, but for rest, for peace, for a space outside of time, and he would give them every moment he could. He returned to his seat, looked out at the lightening sky, gray becoming silver, silver becoming pale blue. The world waking up, slowly, gently, the way it should wake. The sun appeared, not suddenly, not dramatically, just gradually, a lightening. In the east, pink touched the clouds, soft pink, the color of rose petals, then gold, pale gold, the color of honey. The snow caught the light, began to glow, no longer white-gray, but pink gold, beautiful, ethereal, like the world was made of light, made of color, made of something more than substance. The elderly woman stirred. Her eyelids fluttered. She hovered at the edge of waking, that soft space between dream and reality. She didn't want to open her eyes yet, didn't want to leave the dream, the meadow, the flowers, the peace, but consciousness pulled at her, gently, not insistent, just a soft hug. Come back into the waking world. She let herself return slowly, opened her eyes just a little. The first thing she saw was light, pink gold light through the window. Dawn. She opened her eyes fully, looked out at the dawn-lit world. It was beautiful, more beautiful than her dream. The snow glowed, the trees stood dark against the pink sky. Everything was still, quiet, peaceful. She felt rested, deeply rested, more rested than she had felt in months, maybe years. The sleep had been complete, total, restorative. She sat up, slowly, carefully. Her body felt stiff, but not painfully so. Just the stiffness of having been still, of having been at rest. She stretched, arms above her head, felt her spine realign, her shoulders release. Better, much better. She looked around the car. The other passengers still slept. She was the first to wake. She didn't mind, liked having this quiet moment, this transition time between sleep and full waking, between night and day. She looked out the window again, watched the colors deepen, the pink becoming brighter, the gold becoming richer. The sun was just below the horizon now, about to appear. She watched for it, waited for it, patient, at peace. The young man woke next. His eyes opened suddenly. That way of waking, when you've slept deeply, when you wake all at once, not gradual, but sudden. He blinked, looked around. For a moment, didn't know where he was. Then it came back. The train, the journey. He sat up, looked out the window. Dawn. He had slept through the night. The whole night. He couldn't remember the last time that had happened. Couldn't remember the last time he had slept so completely. He felt different, lighter somehow, as if something heavy had been lifted, some weight he hadn't known. He was carrying. He looked across the aisle, saw the elderly woman watching the dawn. Their eyes met. She smiled at him, a warm smile, a grandmother's smile. He smiled back. No words, but understanding passed between them. They had both slept, both rested, both found what they needed. The conductor appeared, walking quietly through the car. "Good morning," he said softly, to the elderly woman, to the young man. "Good morning," they replied, voices still hushed, not wanting to wake the others yet. "We'll be arriving in about an hour," the conductor said. "Would you like some coffee? Some tea?" They both nodded. "Coffee, please," the young man said. "Tea for me," the elderly woman said. The conductor nodded, moved toward the galley. The couple woke together, the way they did everything. Their eyes opened at almost the same moment. They looked at each other first, before looking at anything else. That moment of recognition. You're here. I'm here. We're here together. "Good morning," the man said softly. "Good morning," the woman replied. They smiled, still holding hands, had held hands all night. The man's hand was a little numb, but he didn't care. Would never let go, not even for circulation. The woman squeezed his hand gently. He squeezed back. They sat up together, looked out the window together. Oh, the woman breathed. The sun was rising, actually rising. The edge of it, visible now, above the horizon, brilliant, blinding, beautiful. They watched in silence, watched it climb, slowly, steadily. The same sun that had set last night, the same sun that rose every morning. But it never stopped being miraculous, never stopped being beautiful. The young woman woke last, woke to the sound of quiet voices, to the smell of coffee brewing. She opened her eyes, saw the dawn light. For a moment, she stayed very still, just absorbing it, the light, the peace, the feeling of having slept well. Then she sat up, stretched, saw the other passengers, awake, the conductor moving through the car with a tray. She felt part of something, part of this small community, these strangers who had shared the night, who had slept in the same car, breathed the same air, been carried by the same train. She felt affection for them, all of them. The elderly woman with her kind eyes, the young man with his gentle face, the couple with their enduring love, and she knew she would carry them with her. After today, after the train, would remember them, these fellow travelers, these brief companions. The older gentleman woke slowly, came up from deep sleep, gradually, layer by layer, level by level, until finally his eyes opened. He didn't move at first, just lay there, feeling his body, checking in. Everything all right? Everything working? Yes, everything was fine. Better than fine. He felt good, rested, strong. He sat up carefully, looked around. Everyone else was awake, sitting quietly, looking out windows, sipping coffee or tea. He smiled. Good morning. World. Good morning. Life. Thank you for another day. The conductor brought him coffee, unbidden but welcome. Good morning, sir, the conductor said. Did you sleep well? Like a baby, the gentleman said, his voice rough with sleep, but happy. I'm glad, the conductor said, and he was genuinely glad. This was what he worked for, these moments, these rested faces, these peaceful mornings. The train moved through. The dawn whirled. The landscape had changed. Overnight. They were out of the deep forest now. The trees were smaller, sparser. Fields appeared. White fields, covered in snow. Fences lined the tracks. Wooden fences, half buried. A farmhouse in the distance. Smoke rising from its chimney. Someone else was awake, someone making breakfast, stoking the fire, starting their day. The train passed, a frozen pond, perfectly round, perfectly smooth, like a mirror reflecting the pink sky. A barn stood nearby, red against the white snow, against the pink sky. The colors were vivid now, fully alive. The sun was up, fully up. Day had begun. The elderly woman sipped her tea, felt the warmth spread through her. She felt grateful, deeply grateful, for this night, this train, this journey, for the rest she'd found, for the peace, for the beauty of dawn. She thought of her mother, of the dream, smiled. Thank you, she thought, for teaching me to see beauty, for teaching me to find peace, for teaching me to love. The lessons remained, would always remain. The young man wrapped his hands around his coffee mug, let the heat seep into his palms. He felt different this morning, felt changed somehow, not dramatically, not obviously, but something had shifted, something had eased. The knot of anxiety that had lived in his chest, the constant worry, the endless planning, it was still there, but smaller, quieter. The night had given him perspective, had reminded him of something important, that life was more than worry, more than planning, more than always doing. Sometimes it was about being, about resting, about letting yourself be carried. He would try to remember that, would try to come back to it. When the anxiety returned, when the worry crept back, he would remember this train, this night, this dawn. The couple sat close, still, shoulders touching, hands clasped. They didn't need to speak, had said everything that needed saying, with hand squeezes, with smiles, with shared silence. They watched the farmland roll by, watched the world wake up, and felt grateful for each other, for this life together, for mornings like this. After 30 years, they still loved mornings together, still loved traveling together, still loved just being together. That was the secret they had learned. Not grand gestures, not dramatic declarations, but this quiet togetherness, this constant choosing of each other. Every day, every moment, the young woman wrote in her journal just a few lines about the night, about the train, about the feeling of waking to dawn. Her handwriting was still sleepy, a little shaky, but the words were clear. The meaning was clear. I slept on a train through the winter night, she wrote, and I woke up different, not changed, but more myself, more settled, more at peace. She read the words back, nodded. Yes, that was it exactly. More herself. The train had given her that. The night had given her that. Space to just be, without doing, without performing, without trying, just being. And in that being, she had found herself more fully. The older gentleman looked at his reflection in the window, saw his white beard, his lined face, his kind eyes, saw the years, saw the life lived, and felt peace with it. Peace with the aging, peace with the passage of time. He had lived well, had loved well. His wife would be proud. He knew that, felt that, and that was enough. He turned from his reflection, looked at the other passengers, these people he had shared the night with. He felt connected to them, even though they were strangers. We are all on this journey together, he thought, all of us trying, all of us hoping, all of us doing our best. And that's beautiful. That's enough. The conductor stood at the front of the car, waited for everyone to finish their coffee, their tea. Then he spoke. "We'll be arriving at our destination in 30 minutes, he said, his voice gentle but clear. "I hope you all rested well. I hope the journey was everything you needed." The passengers looked at him, smiled, nodded. "It was," the elderly woman said. "Perfect," the young man said. "Thank you," the couple said, together. "Exactly what I needed," the young woman said. "A blessing," the older gentleman said. The conductor smiled, felt that warmth in his chest. "I'm glad," he said simply. He moved through the car one more time, collected the empty cups, gathered the blankets, folded them carefully. The passengers began to prepare, to gather their things. The elderly woman put on her coat, rewrapped her scarf. The young man folded his blanket, put on his gray coat. The couple helped each other with their coats, adjusted each other's scarves, small acts of care, of love. The young woman packed her journal in her backpack, zipped it carefully. The older gentleman put on his plaid coat, his wool hat, picked up his canvas bag. They were ready to arrive, ready for whatever came next, but also sad just a little, because this had been special, this night, this train, this journey, and it was ending, as all things must end. But the memory would remain, the rest would remain, the peace would remain. They would carry it with them into their days, into their lives. The train began to slow, gradually, gently, the rhythm changing, the click-clack becoming slower. Buildings appeared outside the windows. First a few, then more. A town, their destination. The town was waking up. Lights in windows, smoke from chimneys. People visible on the streets, starting their days, going about their lives. The train slowed. More. The station came into view, similar to the one they had left, but different. Every station is different. Every arrival is different. The train pulled into the station, came to a gentle stop. Perfect alignment. The passenger car door, exactly at the platform. For a moment, no one moved. They all sat, holding on to this moment, this last moment, on the train. Then the elderly woman stood, picked up her leather suitcase. "Thank you," she said to the conductor. "It was my pleasure," he said, and meant it. She walked to the door. He opened it for her, helped her down the steps, onto the platform. She stood there, breathing the morning air, cold but fresh, looked up at the sky, fully light now, blue with wisps of pink. She smiled. Ready. The young man followed, shook the conductor's hand. "Thank you," he said, "for everything." "Travel safely," the conductor said. The young man stepped onto the platform, adjusted his glasses, looked around at the station, at the town, at the morning, took a deep breath. Yes, he was ready. The couple came next, still holding hands. "Lovely journey," the woman said. "The best," the man said. The conductor smiled, "Come back, anytime," he said. "We will," they said, together. They stepped onto the platform, stood close, looked at each other, ready for the next adventure, the next chapter. Together, always together. The young woman paused at the door, looked back at the train car, trying to memorize it, the velvet seats, the brass lamps, the warm wood. "Thank you," she said to the conductor. He understood what she was thanking him for. Not just the ride, but the space, the peace, the gift of a night outside of time. "You're welcome," he said. "Write about it," he added. She smiled. "I will." She stepped onto the platform, swung her backpack over her shoulders, looked ahead at the town, at the path forward, breathed in, breathed out. Ready. Finally, the older gentleman. He moved slowly but steadily. The conductor helped him with his bag. "Safe travels, sir," the conductor said. The gentleman paused, looked at the conductor. "You do good work," he said. "Important work. Don't ever forget that." The conductor felt tears prick his eyes. "Thank you," he said, his voice thick. The gentleman smiled, patted the conductor's shoulder, then stepped onto the platform. He stood with the others, all 5 passengers, strangers who had shared a night, who had slept in the same space, been carried by the same train. They looked at each other, smiled. No words, but acknowledgement, recognition. We were here together. We shared this. Then, one by one, they turned, walked toward their destinations. The elderly woman toward the street, where someone waited to pick her up. The young man toward the town center, where he would catch another train. The couple toward a taxi stand, off to their next destination. The young woman toward a hostel, where she would rest before continuing her journey. The older gentleman toward the station cafe, where he would have breakfast and read the morning paper. They dispersed, went their separate ways, but they carried something with them, all of them. The peace of the journey, the rest of the night, the gift of the midnight express. The conductor watched them go, watched until they disappeared. Then he turned back to the train, his home. There was work to do, the car to clean, fresh blankets to prepare, because tonight there would be more passengers, more people seeking rest, more people needing to be carried through the night. And he would be here, ready, waiting. It was his purpose, his calling, his joy. He smiled, stepped back onto the train. The door closed behind him. The Midnight Express rested at the platform, catching its breath, preparing for the next journey. The sun climbed higher in the sky. Morning fully arrived. The world awake. The day begun. But tonight, when darkness fell again, when the stars came out, when the snow began to fall, once more, the train would be ready, would pull away from the station, would carry its passengers through the winter night, through forests and over bridges, past villages and frozen rivers, under stars and moon, through the deep, peaceful hours, rocking gently, moving steadily. Click-clack, 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 toward dawn, toward morning, toward rest. Always, the train that rocks you like a cradle, the train that holds you like a mother, the train that carries you like a prayer, safe, warm, at peace, through the long winter night, forever, always, the Midnight Express, the train, through snow. Rest now, sleep now, let yourself be carried. The journey is long, but you are safe. The night is dark, but you are warm. The way is uncertain, but you are held. Sleep, rest, dream. The train will carry you through the night to the dawn, to morning, to light, to home. However far, however long, you will arrive. But for now, for this moment, just rest, just breathe, just be on the midnight train through snow, forever moving, forever still, forever carrying its passengers through the winter night, to rest, to peace, to home. Sleep now. Let the rhythm carry you. Click-clack, click-clack, click-clack. Sleep, rest,